harvesting maple sap directly from the tree. What could be more Canadian?
Well, maybe if a moose was using the Canadarm to extract the sap from the tree while some Mounties were playing hockey behind them and the snowbirds were flying overhead, but until such a thing happens, this wins the maple-flavoured trophy. So last weekend I was invited to a Nature for Newcomers event, which was designed to introduce people to the natural wonder that is maple syrup. And when I was invited, I said, well, I get to walk around on a nice sunny afternoon and try maple syrup. Sounds awful, but I'll fall on that sword just for the content.
And so with that, we were off to a local urban farm in the heart of Kentville where we got to meet our hosts and also got to meet some interesting chicks who were walking around. Some were pleasantly chilling in their house, others had fancy little feet, some had amazing hairdos, and some were just pure rage. And once the violence was over, we all gathered around the fire to introduce ourselves and to talk about our experiences with maple syrup. And there were even some folks there who'd never tried it before. We got to hear lots of stories of people growing up with maple syrup as children, and also acknowledge the fact that the process of extracting the sap from trees and turning it into syrup came from the indigenous people of Canada. I, for one, was pretty surprised at how clear it is coming out of the tree. And so with that, we took our buckets of sap back up to the top of the hill to see the process of how it gets boiled down into a syrup. First things first, you gotta screen it to make sure you remove any debris that may have fallen into your pail. And we even got to try it in this state. The raw sap is actually very watery and just a slight hint of sweetness to it. It's very refreshing, and it's actually sold in this state as some sort of healthy drink. So it was nice to be able to try it in this form. Our host Dave was fantastic and walked us through the whole process and the setup they have there to create maple syrup on their property, and it was awesome to see the process in action and to learn from the different trials and different setups that they've tried in the past, and maybe even to get inspired to try and get out there and do it myself. There's just something satisfying about watching the fire and taking in the maple-infused steam on a day like this. Next up, we got to try the syrup when it was about 50% done, and we got to try it piping hot right out of the evaporator. It's still quite liquidy at this stage, but it's much sweeter and very nice to enjoy hot like this. And of course, we don't stop there. You've got to give yourself the full pancreatic challenge and try the full-on syrup, which of course included some freshly made waffles. And there's no better way to work off all that sugar than to take a nice walk through the forest. And this cute trail that wound its way through the property also included some maple-based trivia for you to enjoy as you walked. And our day culminated with some lucky people getting to try the tractor. This thing is awesome, I want one, and I wasn't jealous at all.
And so we had a fantastic day getting out into nature, trying the maple sap in its various different forms, and meeting some nice new people. So it was great actually to try the maple syrup in its different forms, and watching my wife ruin the syrup by accidentally pouring it into hot chocolate instead of coffee. Don't try this at home.
Oh God, please, no! 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 No!
I wanted to take a moment to thank our hosts for the day, David and Becca, for opening up their home and their property to us to allow us all to have that experience that day, so thank you both very much. And also thank you to our event organisers, which was the Annapolis Valley Welcome Network, YReach, the Connector Program, as well as Flying Squirrel Adventures.
Here in the Annapolis Valley, Flying Squirrel Adventures is all about embracing the great outdoors and inspiring a love for nature. This charitable organisation with the Blomidon Naturalist Society has been running these Nature for Newcomers events for the last 3 years, and so if you're interested in getting out into nature, meeting new people, and generally having a good time, I would recommend you check out their website at flyingsquirreladventures.ca.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, maybe consider giving it a like, and maybe even subscribing to the channel if you're interested in more Annapolis Valley-based adventures. Now, I'm off to see if I've got any maple trees on my property, because then I can start my own maple-based empire. But until such time as I can take over the entire maple industry, I'll see you next time on Escape to the Valley.